Hello there and welcome to day 21 of Junk Journal July Embellishments. So as I've said right from the very start, I'm going through all of my scraps. Now I'm not here to teach you granny how to suck eggs, and I'm not here to teach you loads and loads of new stuff. You know, there might be things that you've gleaned from some of the videos that you think, ooh, that was a handy tip, or that was something that I didn't realise that I needed to know. But what I want to do today is to encourage you to look at some of your scraps and just think beyond, and to sort of think, I need to do that in preparation for. Alright, so today is preparation day for the rest of this week, so to speak. Now I realise that today probably is not going to be the day that you're going to be able to sit and do anything. But there might be an evening or an hour or two that you've got during the week that you could actually sit and do some of this stuff. So I sorted all my scraps out, and these are my larger scraps. So I went through all of those, reduced it by nearly half, and I've made 2 bags of smaller scraps. So I've reduced that one by half, but I've created a whole load more. These videos are very short and sweet, so I'm not going to be able to cover everything all in one video. So these are the strips that I'm going to be using on this project that I want to make. Now I'm not making it today because I've got preparation work to do beforehand. So as you can see, there is a variety of different strips. Okay, so we've got some that are long, we've got some that are short, we've got some that are very thin, but there's a variety of different rectangles. So it enabled me to go through and straighten the edges up, you know, because some were cut a little bit skewy and some had got torn edges. So I've straightened up all the edges, cut them into rectangles of varying sizes, and then I've got this smaller bag. I'm not going to tip them out, but these have got smaller rectangles in. Alright, so you know that's an evening's job just on its own, going through your scraps, sorting them out. Well, these are like 10-minute videos. So, you know, I'm not going to be able to cover everything. But what I want to do is I want to go through these rectangles. And I've got some little bookmark style embossing folders. And I've also got a little sidekick. So I do have the bigger machines as well. They're upstairs in my main craft room. But this is handy for if I'm travelling, not very often, or if I'm sitting down here in front of the TV, and I can just run some of these through some of these. So I'm going to go off and do some of these, because again I can't do these on camera because it'll make the camera wobble. And that won't be very good for your eyesight. So I'm going to go off and go and do some embossing. I'm also going to go through some of my plainer scraps, so some of my white, my black, my craft cardstock, or just plain cardstock. And I'm going to die cut out some long thin flowers. Now the reason why I'm using these is because I want to sit them on top of these. I also want to do some punching of some leaf shapes that I've got, again to add to some of these strips. I also want to punch out some butterflies. Now once they're punched out, the bigger ones rather than the smaller ones, I'll be able to put these in my embossing folders, but they need to be punched out first. But adding that little bit of embossing will create a little bit of dimension, and again I will be adding them to some of these. So I'm going to go off and go and do a few of these, and then I'll come back and show you the results of the few that I've made. So I've got this beautiful embossing folder here with all these leaves on, and when you open it up, again, I'm not here to teach your granny how to suck eggs, but you'll feel that one side is depressed and the other side is raised. So what I'm actually going to do is I'm just going to use my little mini distress ink, and you can use whatever colour you want, but I'm just using what I've got, and I'm going to put it on the raised side. And then I'm going to put my paper in with the pattern side facing onto the raised side. And then I'm going to run that through my machine. And I end up with all the background being coloured in, and all the raised area is devoid of any ink. So I'm now going to do it the other way around, where I'm going to put ink on this side of the embossing folder. Put my piece of paper in. Again, I'm going to put it face down, the side that I want as the front, and I'm going to run it through that through my machine. And now what we've got is we've got the depressed part where the leaves sunk into the paper. The ink is now where the leaves were, whereas on this one it's the background that got inked up. So it creates two very, very different effects. I'm going to punch out some butterflies out of this paper. It's pretty enough, you know, and we tend to go and find really pretty papers that we'll end up punching butterflies from. But if you use the embossing folder with them, they don't have to be overly decorative. So I'm going to punch some of these out, and then I'm going to run them through this embossing folder. And here you can see the difference. So obviously this one is not embossed, and that one is embossed. I mean, just so pretty with that texture on. And we love touching and feeling things as well. When we see things and we think, oh, that's got a nice bit of texture to it, we like to touch. So having them embossed is a real enhancement. So let me show you what I made. So these were the embossed strips, one without any ink on it, some with the ink in the embossing folder, and this one I just ran my ink over the top of the embossed section. I also had some scraps of vellum paper as well, so I embossed a couple of those. Want to do some more of those. These were the embossed butterflies that I've done. So I've used a selection of scraps, punched them out, and then ran them through the embossing machine. I then went on to do some die cutting, and so I've done some die cutting white, some cream cardstock, some craft cardstock, and some black cardstock. But I've also kept, I don't know if you can see them properly, the bits that were die cut out create a nice little background as well, and or you could use them as a stencil. For those of you that do have a little play with inking up background papers and stuff, this was a piece that I did on some photo paper with my alcohol inks. Didn't like it. This was another piece that I didn't like it, but instead of throwing it away, I kept it, obviously, and I've punched out some beautiful leaves all ready for my autumn journal. But because of all those colours on those papers, it has created some beautiful ombre effects. I love this one, and I love this one. In fact, I love this one. Oh, and I love this one. So put some banging tunes on, or your favourite film, and get creating a few bits and pieces that you can sit and just create some lovely stuff with, all ready for this project that I'm going to be working on. Thanks for joining me today. Hope you've been inspired, even just a fraction, and I'll see you in tomorrow's video. Bye for now.